Hey, this is Scott from phasingplayer.com, and when I made my Pax Renaissance video, my instructions video, I was intentionally glossing over a lot of the systems in the game. See, for me, when I learn how to play a game, I do like a little bit of a push in the right direction through a video or some kind of tutorial, but honestly, I learn best when I have the rulebook in front of me along with that sort of push in the right direction. So, I intentionally make my videos kind of following that line of thought. Some systems, though, do need a little more explanation, and I've had a few people request that I talk more about the one-shots in Pax Renaissance. So that's what this video is going to be. Now, I don't have the expansion on hand, so this video is just going to be about the base game one-shots. I might touch on the expansion stuff at the very end, but don't expect too big of a dive into it. So, with that being said, why don't we jump right into the one-shots in Pax Renaissance. Alright, so here are the 7 one-shots in the base Pax Renaissance game. Now I have them grouped up a little bit. The upper left here has the religious wars, and they're all very similar. And then over to the right are these 2 civil wars, which are also very similar. So to start off, why don't we break down the 3 religious war cards and go from there. So these 3 religious wars are actually all resolved in the same manner. The only difference is which color of unit you'll be using. Okay, so here's Luther. He has the Reformation one-shot ability, and he targets the Holy Roman Empire. Now, you're going to be playing any rooks or knights that the card would normally play for these wars. In this case, it's 2 red rooks. And you're going to target any different colored rooks and knights on the map. You trade them 1 for 1, so 1 defender will be eliminated for 1 attacker being eliminated. Any surviving attackers gets placed into any city on the map. It's your choice. And if successful, you must flip the map card over to the theocratic side if the theocracy matches the type of religious war you were doing. In this case, the Holy Roman Empire's theocratic side is a Reformationist, and I was doing a Reformation war, so it happens. Okay, let's check out this example. In this case, there are 2 Christian rooks on the map, and they're going to be going against my 2 Reformationist rooks. We conduct battle the same way. These 2 will kill each other, and these 2 will kill each other. However, once they're eliminated, you'll see there's no attackers left to go to the map, and therefore it is not successful. Alright, let's reset the map a little bit here. And I'm actually going to put a Reformationist knight in the Holy Roman Empire as well for this. So, with religious wars, you not only use rooks and knights from your card, but you also use rooks and knights of the same color already on the map. And you exchange them in the exact same way as long as they're fighting heretics. Again, that's just different colored units. So, I'm going to trade these rooks for the defending rooks like before, but because this knight is here and is of my color, he's considered an attacker and a surviving attacker at that, so this will flip over because the religious war is now successful. The other 2 types of religious wars, they function pretty much the same. It's just jihad religious wars will use the black tokens, and the crusade religious wars will use the white ones. Alright, so there are the religious war one-shots. The next 2 we're talking about are civil wars, and from that name you might guess they are pretty similar. The reason I want to split them up is because where Crusade, Jihad, and Reformation are all mechanically the same, the 2 civil wars, Conspiracy and Peasant Revolt, do have some nuances. In many ways, they do share the same mechanics as religious wars. You use units from the card and from the map to attack other units on the map. You exchange attackers and defenders 1 for 1, and a successful use of the one-shot will cause a regime change. But the specific types of units you use and what might happen to the map card as a result of a victory is different. So why don't we go ahead and break down those 2 one-shots. Alright, here we've got Peasant Revolt and Conspiracy. So why don't we start with Conspiracy? Alright, here we have the Last Knight, and he also targets the Holy Roman Empire. Unlike religious wars, the color of the unit doesn't matter, so his red knight is going to be just fine fighting the red rook on this map. Just like religious wars, attackers and defenders will trade kills 1 for 1, and the conspiracy will be successful if there are any surviving attackers. Conspiracies differentiate themselves, though, from wars in a significant way. Namely, they will use any repressed rooks or knights on the location's empire card as attackers in the battle. So in this example, this rook and knight will fight along with the red knight being placed in this battle, and you could take them as casualties as you desire. As usual, any surviving attackers, including the repressed units, will get placed into the map in any open city. Sort of like a religious war, when a conspiracy is successful, you may flip over the map card. In this case, you only do it if it's on the theological side, and you flip it back to the medieval side. Now, unlike a religious war, this flip is optional. Okay, and next up for the civil wars, we have the Peasant Revolt. Just like the other wars, any placed units from the card will participate in the battle, including cubes. Any of your concessions adjacent to the map card will also join you as an attacker. You eliminate one attacker for every one defender, just like with the other wars. Repressed units in a peasant revolt will also fight, but only if they are serfs, which are what you call cubes that have been repressed to an empire. In this example, only the blue cube would participate as a serf in the attack. It's also worth saying that pirates will participate as attackers if they're adjacent to the map card. Okay, great. You know, those are all of the combat-oriented one-shots. The next two are actually pretty simple. One thing to keep in mind, though, about the religious war and civil war one-shots is that victory with them will always result in a regime change, and a regime change always takes an empire card into your tableau on its king side, never as a republic, even if you're taking it from a player that had flipped it to a republic. It always comes into your tableau on its king side. So anyway, like I was saying, the next two, Coronation and Trade Shift, are really straightforward, so let's go right into them and finish up. Alright, so this is Joanna the Mad. She is a queen, and queens always have the Coronation one-shot, and with it, several empires listed that she can marry into. And the empire must come from the empire stack, not another player's tableau, which could mean no available kings. Now this one-shot will essentially combine these two cards. So let's say here that the player chose the HRE. You would take it and place this card as well as the queen into your tableau, stacking them on top of each other like this. You need to be able to see any prestige she offers as well as the abilities that she might grant. If you ever lose the empire, discard the queen. Alright, and last up is the Trade Shift one-shot, which uses these little markers on the map. If these little starbursts are revealed, that is where a trade fair begins for that color. And if they're covered, then, well, it doesn't start there. Now if you're saying, hey, I bet a Trade Shift one-shot opens those locations, you'd be right. Here you'll see that several can open the Spice Islands location, and once it's open, it can never be closed again, so only one gets used in a given game. If you play a Trade Shift, and there is a disc on the location named, you remove that disc, and you place it on the currently open trade port. You'll also repress any unit currently in that city. Now, when the trade fair action is taken, in this example, it would start in Timbuktu, follow the black line around, and end in Mamluk like before. If you look at any of the trade shifts that open the Spice Islands, you'll see it requires a discovery prestige to use. The one the card gives you doesn't count. Alright, so those are all of the one-shots in the base game of Pax Renaissance. If that's all you needed to see, you can kill this video, and thank you very much for watching. I hope it was helpful. If you want to know about the expansion one-shots though, again, I don't have my copy on hand, so I can only talk about them kind of succinctly here. And that is the Apostasy and the Torch one-shots. So Apostasy is going to be something that culls your tableau a little bit depending on what's in it. It's going to have two religions named on the Apostasy one-shot, and if you have prestige from both of those in your tableau, you'll lose all of those cards. Essentially, if you have, if you're in bed with two different religions and the Apostasy gets played, hey, the jig is up, man. You gotta get rid of all of your prestige that matches those religions. A torch, on the other hand, will make one victory condition more difficult, and if it's activated already, it will deactivate it. So basically, it will make it so, let's say the Holy Victory is the torch that comes up. If Holy Victory is active, you deactivate it. And in the future, it will take 2 actions to claim victory for the Holy Victory instead of the normal 1. So it's kind of, they're targeted towards specific victory conditions. But it's essentially, yeah, that's essentially how those 2 expansion one-shots will work. They're pretty straightforward, and they can really disrupt the game. But again, I don't have the expansion with me at the moment, so I can't really talk about them more than that. Hey, so, okay, what's going on here? Well, I'm editing this video right now, and it turns out the last couple of clips that I had were corrupted. And I'm learning that now as I'm sitting down to put this all together. So unfortunately, this is gonna have to be the end of the video. And it's also, honestly, probably the last Pax Renaissance video I'll be doing. This is, I think, the 3rd one now. So Pax Renaissance is done. And I'm not throwing away Pax Renaissance. This is also an empty box, so that's, I don't know, that symbolism maybe didn't really work out. But if I do more Pax Renaissance stuff, it'll be probably like a live playthrough or something in the future, but for now, Pax Renaissance is finished. I hope you enjoyed the video. I hope it cleared up any misconceptions or any lack of clarity you had for one-shots. And yeah, thanks again for watching.